Jimmy K here, Metal Voice. Look at this. The Metal Voice shirts are now on sale. Just go to the video description to find out on how you can purchase one. Metal! Welcome to the Metal Voice. Today on the show, a special guest from a band that's been around a long time. You may or may not heard of them. It's Mr. Lee Payne, the bassist and, of course, the leader of the band Cloven Hoof. What's going on, Lee?
How you doing, Jimmy? Yeah, everything's going great with the band. You know, we've got the brand new album, The Age of Steel, coming out, so we're really excited about that. It looks like with all the sort of reviews we've been sort of having that, you know, I think we've probably brought out our best album yet, to be quite honest. But you know, in my opinion, it is. But you know, you need other people to say so, and well, everyone will judge themselves, won't they?
So the new album, Age of Steel, to be released April 24th on Pure Steel Records. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about the new album, and just give me a little bit about the musical direction versus you know, the last album, let's say.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, I think it's a natural progression from Who Mourns from the Morning Star. I mean, the album did so well, really. It got us our first sort of headline tour of America, and it was kind of a groundbreaking album in many ways because it sort of featured the Anglo-American lineup, you know, because the singer George Core and Danny White, they come from Dallas. So in many ways, we kind of it reminds us of you know, when Black Sabbath had the Ronnie Dio kind of lineup, and you know, it's made of people from England and America, but. It works incredibly well because, okay, we've got the Atlantic in the middle, but we're just like brothers, and we get on so well, it's unbelievable. So Who Mourns for the Morning Star, it was great. In fact, it did so well. We did two back-to-back American tours over 70 dates, you know, like, and it was real kind of road warrior stuff. We played every single night, so we're driving thousands of miles, doing the show, and then driving and doing the next one. But it was just an incredible experience, and it made us kind of super tight. So you know, we know how each other works, you know, only too well now. So when we did the Age of Steel, it worked like a charm because all that sort of experience on the road served us well. And so what we wanted to do, I was very conscious actually after Who Mourns for the Morning Star. I felt quite a bit of sort of pressure on me because you know, when you release a really good album like that, the expectation's very high, and I was really aware of that. Yeah. So we had to really kind of dig deep. And I wanted it to be everything that Cloven Hoof does really well. And that includes, we've got some songs which are kind of standalone kind of tracks. They're not part of a concept piece. But the second half of the album actually is like a mini concept album. Okay. And hopefully it'll continue on the next one as well. So this is the first half of the story, and then it concludes on the next album. So really, Age of Steel and the next album was kind of written at the same time, so I know the quality is going to be there. So the first side of the track, kind of they're like standalone tracks, and then this huge concept piece. And there was an album we brought out called the Dominator Album, and that was a concept. That's right. You know, that was a concept album in itself, but we've kind of brought the sort of Dominator back, and he's been kind of resurrected, and it sort of charts the Dominator sort of rise back to power. He's kind of a intergalactic kind of tyrant, I guess, very kind of Star Wars kind of thing, and they resurrected him, and he kind of gets his empire back, and it kind of concludes with his a successful invasion of Earth kind of thing. So bringing a new Age of Steel. So, you know, that's kind of the idea behind the album.
Would you describe it as sort of like the last album, sort of like new wave of British heavy metal, power metal?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. A lot of people really think we're kind of pioneers of sort of power metal, and back in the day, really, it wasn't a conscious move, you know, like there was no such thing as power metal, but our sort of songs were very sort of epic, There's multi-time changes, and it's fast and it's powerful. And because sometimes we abandon the sort of contrived verse chorus kind of song structures, and our songs are kind of tell stories like mini movies, really. It's got a beginning, middle and end, and we disperse with a lot of sort of the predictable kind of choruses, and some of our songs have got sort of various musical movements which tell a story, really. Bit sort of classical in approach, I guess, but we were just trying to we didn't know any better, really. We just played songs that we felt were right, and if it didn't need the hook line keep coming in all the time, then we dispersed with it. And so I suppose underneath we kind of had a prog rock band kind of underbelly.
Absolutely.
But we were aggressive and all out heavy metal, so we were kind of different, I guess. I mean, we were just a sort of rush at sort of the link between sort of the prog bands and heavy rock, really. Yep. So you sort of had Genesis and then you had Rush. Really, we're sort of Rush, leading on into heavy metal, I guess. So I think that's why a lot of people think we're kind of an important band, because we did have sort of these epic song structures, but we were all out aggressive, and no one was doing that, when we came out. So
let's jump back in time a little bit. Let's jump back in time a bit, all right? For the people who don't know the band, I mean, there's a lot of people who know the band, there's a lot of people who don't know the band, and I guess this is why we're doing the show, right? Sort of exposed.
Absolutely.
And just so you know, like, there's this bizarre fascination with Greece and Cloven Hoof that the only conclusion I could come up with is Greeks have a good taste of music. That's pretty much what it is. That's the end conclusion. Strange enough, I was born in Canada, but like my parents are Greek, so when I was vacationing in my summers in Greece, I was handed a tape and started. I think it was 1984, I guess. I would guess.
Wow, yeah, that's going back, yeah.
And in North America, there was absolutely zero coverage of Cloven Hoof at the time, right? So
yeah, that's right.
In Europe, there was, and I was handed this tape. I bought this tape. I guess there was a lot of tape trading back then. I bought in a record store. I bought this tape and had Cloven Hoof. Never heard of them before, and I was fascinated with the first album. It just blew my mind, and we had nothing like that in Canada and the U.S. So that was my first exposure. That was my first exposure. Now you tell me. Tell me about the EP, the opening ritual, which was, did you guys self-finance that? How did that come about?
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah, it was self-financed. Back in the day when new wave of British heavy metal was kind of ruling the streets in England, kind of thing, and there's sort of a Denon army absolutely everywhere. So what we decided to do was bring out our own EP kind of thing. A lot of bands kind of started that way, sort of Iron Maiden as well with their Soundhouse tapes and stuff. Yep. So we made this EP, and when it actually came out, it was like a phenomenon, really. We ended up in the Kerrang heavy metal charts and got to number 18. We beaten bands like Survivor at the time, who were really kind of pushed with Eye of the Tiger and stuff, and it got to number 18 in the national charts. And so we had CBS records. They're kind of Sony now, aren't they? Yeah. They wanted to sign us because the high chart position, and everybody wanted this EP, and also the music papers were kind of championing our cause as well, because that's what was happening in England. For the first time ever, the media were behind heavy metal bands, which was amazing. So that did great, and so
at what point? At what point did you take your personas like air, water, fire, and
we had it from day one, to be quite honest. The concept,
was that during the opening ritual, like when
people
who don't know this, we should explain this. Each member took the persona of a different what is it? What do you call it?
It's the elements.
It's the elements. That's it. The elements. The earth elements, right? Water, fire, and of course you were air, right?
I was air. That's right. Yeah.
And you had makeup.
Well, the cool thing about that concept, I think it's one of the most complete sort of concepts that any band ever had. I mean, sort of Kiss were there, and it was kind of the spaceman and the kind of vampire and the cat and everything. But our idea was quite well thought out because originally I wanted the band to have a really sort of a cult kind of name. But nothing completely obvious, so I thought of Cloven Hoof, and I didn't know the significance at the time, but it means worshippers at the feet of the devil, basically, and the Church of Satan.
There you
had their website, Cloven Hoof, so there's a lot of that. So it's much deeper than I thought. But I noticed, like in witchcraft, like the pentagram, which is the mystic symbol that they have, at each of the compass points, there's an element attached to it as well, and at north, east, south, and west. So and also with your sort of birth month, you're either a fire, water, earth, or air sign. Mm-hmm. And funnily enough, this is incredible odds. But each of our band members, I was air, and I'm a Gemini, and Steve was a Sagittarius, and he was a fire sign, and Kevin was Taurus, and that was an earth, and Dave was a Pisces, which was incredible. So we thought, well, wouldn't it be cool that each band member can adopt a sort of a character? It's kind of get portrayed as his star sign. So we did that, and we had like a kind of a sort of superhero kind of story attached to it, which we're kind of ahead of our time because just look at it now, it's full of it. And this was before Slipknot and all these bands that had masks and stuff. So it was a pretty cool concept. And but the only trouble with having a fantastic concept is it gets in the way of the music. They're too busy writing about, your image and everything else. And despite it being successful and, big label like CBS wanted to jump on the bandwagon, we really wanted to be known for the music. So amazingly enough, we decided, look, let's just make it with music, and we'll go and shelve the concept. And our manager at the time was a guy called David Hemmings, and he was Black Sabbath's road manager, and he went on to manage Judas Priest, and a fantastic Canadian musician, Pat Travers. Do you remember? Remember him? Yes. And what happened was CBS wanted us so bad that he was negotiating a big deal with CBS, a great big budget thing. And
this is before your debut album. Now this is before your debut album.
Yes, that's right. And he died during the negotiations with CBS, and because he died, loads of people came out the woodwork who he did deals with, and they reckon they own the band, and it ruined the CBS deal. So in the end, we were aired on Radio 1 show, the BBC Radio, Tommy Vance show, and Rob Halford out of Judas Priest took our demo tape in, and Robert Plant did as well. So the BBC offered us a session, Neat Records heard us, and then they offered us a deal for the debut album, Cloven Hoof, because they're the only people that would sign us at the time, because I didn't want any legal nonsense.
Yeah, with Venom and Raven, Neat Records, right?
Yeah, that's right. They had Venom and Raven, all those bands.
So
they were kind of the top independent label in England, really, at the time. So that was
cool. Tell me about Rob Halford. I mean, did you give him the tape, or did he just discover it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was a cool story, really, because Rob was doing one of the local radio stations. Rob has known about the band since we started, really, because he did this interview on the local radio station, and we couldn't get a singer, who sang in the right style that we wanted. So we wanted the radio station to kind of announce it on the air, that we're a heavy metal band looking for a good singer. So we waited for Rob Halford to come out this kind of radio station, and we were sitting there on the wall, and Rob came out and he went, you've just got to be a band, like one look at us, And we went, yeah. We said, we've got a demo tape here, and we can't get a singer anywhere. And because, you're so full of enthusiasm and everything, and I said to Rob Halford, I go, well, you'll do. Yeah. And he said, that's exactly the right attitude you got to have in this business. He went, just for that, I'm going to come in and listen to your tape. So they opened up the radio station, and we went back in. And he heard the tape, and he couldn't believe it was us. He went, you play like 40-year-olds. This can't be you. You're just like little kids. And we were kind of 18 at the time. And he was blown away. He went, well, when you get a singer, he said, I want to listen to this. and he like had my number and stuff. And I thought, well, Rob Halford isn't going to call you, you know, like. But sure enough, when they went and toured with the Screaming for Vengeance album, I got a phone call, and like my mum said, you got a phone call here from Rob Halford, and I couldn't believe it. He was true to his word. He went, "Have you got that singer yet?" And I said, as a matter of fact, yeah. And he said, "Well, bring the tape over." So we, you know, when I met him, I handed over the tape, and he said, "I'm doing Radio 1." He said, I'll take it in for you, you know, like, and if it's any good. And he had a listen, and Tommy Vance, you know, gave us a deal, like, on this, you know, to play Radio 1 on the spot. So that was cool. We owe Rob a lot for that one. And
what about Robert Plant?
And Robert Plant also, he kind of lives quite near us. So you know, I found out where his house was. It was about the only one with an American sort of US kind of mailbox, you know. Like, I was putting my tape in there. And I was wearing a Wolverhampton Wanderers football shirt, and you know, we call the Wolves, you know, like, and playing gold and black. And Robert Plant saw me wearing this shirt, and he just came walking up, going, "I like this shirt," you know. I thought, oh my God, you know, like, it's, you know, one of my all-time heroes. And he goes, "You a band then?" He goes, "Is that a demo tape?" I went, "Yeah." He went, "Well, if it's any good, I'm doing Tommy Vance show." And he said, "I'll play it Tommy Vance, and if it's any good, they'll give you a session." So we had both these people take our tapes in, and that shows you what kind of people they are, you know, like, there's such camaraderie, you know, giving support to, like, a young band like that. You know, I guess they were really impressed by our stuff, but you know, it's just incredible that those two sort of giants actually helped us out, you know. So it's how we got our start. I guess, you know, because we're all from the same kind of background, Cloven Hoof couldn't have sounded any other way, really, because there's just something about the area. All the bands have kind of got that sort of doomy kind of dark undercurrent to the sound, and it's true to say kind of heavy metal started actually in the West Midlands.
Yes, okay, so now you're recording your first album on Neat Records, right?
Yep.
So tell me about the pros and cons about recording the first album.
Well, the cool thing was Neat are up in Newcastle, which is kind of sort of north, just before kind of Scotland, really. And so it was quite a long way, and all the Neat bands kind of recorded at the same kind of studio. Venom would have recorded there, and Raven and stuff. So we went up there, and you know, it was very exciting making our first album. It is really big for any band kind of starting out, doing that elusive first album. And so when we went there, we were recording the song Cloven Hoof. And the whole studio kind of broke down, and we had a kind of to this day, actually, sort of weird things happen when we play that song.
Just because, like Number of the Beast, when Iron Maiden recorded their Number of the Beast, there was the same
exactly
mystic problems, occult.
Yeah, weird stuff. I mean, that's had a part of a real witch's spell in it, witch's rune. And so when we were there, I don't know whether it's superstitious or whatever it is, but the producer, Keith, he sort of said, "Can you take some of the words out of that thing?" He said, "because there's just no reason for the studio to break down, and it was weird when we played that song." So I did. I took a few of the words out and stuff, you know, like, and you know, we thought everything will be okay, and then all of a sudden the studio started working again. So that's kind of strange, but it was really, we had really good sort of vibe there. And Venom's manager kind of turned up and he kind of checked us out, you know, and he was really, like, impressed of you know, how we played, and they couldn't believe how young we were, really, because we were just kind of kids. But you know, it turned out great, and the album. Sort of, we're kind of famous for that album, really, and it's still on sale now, you know, like it's been on sale for over 40 years. So we must have been doing something. Yeah, we must have been doing something right. And I think that's the way to test if how good music is, if it stands the test of time. So it's still available after 40 years. So you know, it must be a pretty good album.
Who'd you tour with? I'm assuming, like, did you tour with Venom, Raven? Which bands, you know, that people would know that you toured with?
Yeah, we did. You know, we toured all sorts of people, like Saxon and stuff. You know, like, and we sort of toured quite a lot in Europe at that time. We did, like, the Shockwave Festival in Genk, and we played the famous Dynamo Club in Eindhoven. I think everybody's played there. We played the original Marquee which was a thrilling thing to do. And Ozzy turned up to see us. And when we played there again, Lemmy turned up to see us, like the Mocky. I mean, I think everybody's done there. Everyone from, you name it, Jimi Hendrix and the Stones, the Who, Priest, Sabbath, everybody's played the old Marquee. So
did you know Thor? Cool. Did you remember Thor?
Yeah, Thor, he played there, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
That's cool. We did a show with a band called Madam X. Do you remember Madam X?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, we did a show with them. That was good. I think that's how I think Jakey Lee was there as well. To see us when we did that show.
Did you?
Arthur Sharp. Yeah, Arthur Sharp from Ozzy's label Jet Records and stuff. He wanted to sign us as well, but we said too late. We're already like we need.
Sure. So any dealings with Ozzy? Any dealings? Did Ozzy say thumbs up?
Ozzy was very drunk, but there's no sort of that's not really unusual, was it? Really, in those days. So it's great sort of meeting him and stuff. But he kind of set us up well, and we're known for that album all over the world. And I can see a certain sort of change in the albums, because all our records have got different kind of atmospheres. It's like, with the album Ritual, we're exploring ideas and trying. We had lots of youthful energy, and because we didn't know what the rules were, we ended up breaking quite a few of them. And but the first album, kind of the debut album, had sort of satanic overtones and very sort of dark subject matter. Dominator, with its sci-fi sort of themes and stuff, that sort of really explored like the concept album things. And I think the later albums, like A Sultan's Ransom, that was very kind of eclectic. It had loads of different songs, and we're breaking new sort of boundaries. And really, we found our true identity by A Sultan's Ransom. I think there's fast and epic songs there, and we even had like an Arabian kind of sounding one. But anything, it kind of defined what our parameters were. And, by the time we did sort of Eye of the Sun, we even got the production side together. That was produced by Tom Galley. And he's responsible for working with people like sort of Brian May and sort of Scott Gorham and Glenn Hughes and people like that, So he kind of stripped our songs down and made it more sort of... more immediate. So each album's got its own kind of identity, and so by the time we did Who Mourns for the Morning Star sort of album, our sort of sound and everything is well defined, and our band identity. So really from here on in, it's we're well aware of what the fans expect from us, and we always want to keep delivering for them, basically.
Let me. To me, it was like, actually, I remember when, your first album came out, and then you went to your second album. I go, what's going on? The whole band is breaking up. I mean, what happened there? I mean, like David Potter, which was probably so much loved as the singer, right? If not to say that Russ North was not a great singer.
I think what happened really was all the kind of legal stuff we had after David Hemmings died, and all these people reckoning they had a piece of the band. We were getting sort of loads of legal kind of aggravation every time we were in a poster in a magazine like Metal Hammer or something. You get these people coming out the woodwork, going, well, we own the band, and all these sort of legal nonsense flying by. That in the end, it kind of had a detrimental effect on the other band members. I mean, some people can kind of take the pressure, and some can't. And the other big band killer is obviously kind of like girlfriends wanting to settle down and going, choose between me and music. And I always chose music. So, heavy metal means more to me than kind of anything. So in the end, that's why I was kind of last man standing, because of all the kind of legal pressures and, sort of personal things that were affecting different band members. So, you just dust yourself down and then get out there and find the best possible musicians you can. And I really think Cloven Hoof are one of the few bands that just got better as we went along, and we always came back stronger, and, and the songs were too, So, I'm proud of all the albums. Definitely they kind of, like your babies really, but and they're all kind of different. But I really do love where we are now, because I think this band, like with George Cole and Danny White and all the guys from England, Chris Coss and Luke Hatton, and we got Ash Baker, and we've also got a drummer in England which we use for some European dates, Mark Bristow. It's such a good nucleus of people that I enjoy playing now more than I ever did. And as musicians, they really, we've really kind of raised the bar. So, hopefully we'll continue to make great albums.
Yeah. All right. So Age of Steel, April 24th on Pure Steel Records. But before we let you go, I want you to give me the lowdown of what's going on there. I mean, the coronavirus has hit every country.
Oh,
do you still live in the Midlands? Do you still live there, or do you live somewhere else?
Yeah, that's right. It's pretty bad here. People are kind of stripping the shops of all kind of different items. A lot of people kind of panic. And in my particular, I think there's about so far there's been like 35 deaths in England because of it, and I think 5 of those have kind of happened in this area, which is quite alarming. So I think. The isolation idea, I mean, it's surely it's got to curb it a little bit, especially the dangers obviously to the sort of elder people. Yeah, and they should be isolated as much as possible, because nobody wants a tragedy kind of in the family. So I think everybody should. Really try and be as isolated as they possibly can, because nobody wants to be responsible for bringing that sort of contagion into the home. So it's worldwide, and it's a terrible thing, and we've got to kind of get through this. But in England, it is quite alarming. All the sporting events have been called off. I'm amazed that they haven't kind of stopped the schools, because the thing is, the kids could be. Could catch something and take it back, maybe they will kind of lay the schools off at some point.
Yeah, we've closed them here. We've closed them here for 2 weeks at least.
Yeah, I think it's an absolutely the right thing to do. You just don't want to bring let this terrible virus sort of infect your family. So you've definitely done the right thing, and it's something that affects us all. So we've all got to kind of unite and be sensible, because we've got to beat this. And,
so how are you going to bridge the gap now? We don't know how long we're going to be in this isolation, quarantine, lockdown, whatever you want to call it. Bands aren't touring, clubs, people aren't going to clubs. So how you got your new album coming out. That's one way, right? What other ways? Do you have a video coming out, a music video coming out?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the next big thing, really. We've got we recorded our set at Bang Your Head Festival.
Okay.
And it was, we kind of bought it out and everything, and then I've only recently seen the footage, and it's absolutely breathtaking. We are so super tight that the fans have just got to hear this. I mean, obviously doing 2 back-to-back American tours, and obviously all the gigs we've been doing around the world and stuff, it just made us incredibly tight. So, and the footage is fantastic. It's recorded in HD, and there were 24 cameras involved, and so what we're trying to get together right now, and maybe there'll be a release of it in June. It's a DVD and live CD as a box set.
Nice.
And for the first time ever, it's captured sort of the band's sort of live magic at last. So everybody should go and check that out when it comes out, because it really is fantastic. I was just blown away when I saw it. So that's quite a good release. I mean, as a band, I mean, even like tonight, as long as everybody has stayed kind of isolated, we're going to put this to good use and start rehearsing like new songs for the next album, because the next album's all already written. So what we'll be doing is we'll be doing rehearsals as much as we can to get this album put together. So maybe try and get it recorded this year. So next year we can devote to playing live if this terrible virus has gone. Other than that, I don't know how far you can sort of plan ahead, because You know, it's such a terrible thing. And the next shows we've got is at Motor Cruise Rocks, and that's 2021. October, so
far away.
You know, hopefully it's gone by then, but that'll be cool because we'll be sort of playing, you know, the Mediterranean on a big liner full of metal maniacs for 5 days. So you know, I hope everything's clear by then. I really do.
Yeah. All right. So that's a great news. So Age of Steel, April 24th, hoping for this live CD, which I'd love to hear that. Sort of like redoing. I think the live album is so great at sort of bringing back the older material with the newer singer, right? And sort of bridging
that's absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's what we've been sort of blasting around the world for a long time. So it just shows you how fantastic George is on the old songs.
Is George around your neighborhood now? Does he live in the UK or is he in the US or where is he?
No, he's still in America. You know, like what happens is when we get a tour, he stays with me for a couple of weeks, and you know, we'll rehearse together and everything, then do the show and do the tour and stuff, and then he goes home. And when we're touring America, it's great because we kind of stay with the drummer and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it gives us a chance to play on 2 continents now. So you know, like it's a privilege to be able to do that. So you know, it gives a chance for Cloven Hoof to be bigger than ever, doesn't it now?
Yeah, exciting, very exciting. So you know, it's great for me too because the first time I heard you, I was probably 15, and now here I am at 51, 40 something years later. You know, I've come full circle with you.
Hey, we got there in the end, and that's the cool thing about being in the band. You know, I mean, some people have waited kind of 30 years or 40 years to see us, and the last show we did was in Athens. And it was like a religious experience. I had like grown men sort of crying kind of thing, which is a weird experience, you know. Like
I have no idea.
Crying because you know, I've waited like 30 years to see you, you know, and you're even better live than I even thought, you know. And I think that's true with Cloven Hoof because a lot of people kind of see us live and they're kind of blown away because we're one of the few bands that's even better live than we are in the studio because you know, we've got the energy and we run about and we put on a show. So with all our experience, you know, hey, we should be good by now.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you in Montreal, Canada sometime, hopefully in the future.
That will be amazing. That will be incredible. We love playing in Canada, and we've done some shows there, Toronto, and you know, and we loved it. So you know, the beer's on me when I see you next.
All right. Lee Payne, also known as Air, also known as Air, on tour hopefully in the near future. Right. All right, my friend. We'll talk soon. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, it's been an honor. Bye. Take care. Goodbye.